Oh, hello there. My name's Paula Deming. I make the board game sketch comedy series, Things Get Dicey. I'm also a part of the podcast This Game is Broken and Watch It Played. But today, I am here with the team from Glass Cannon Unplugged, the makers of the upcoming Dying Light, the board game. They're going to introduce themselves to you.
Hello, Przemek, the designer and developer of the board game.
And Jakub, the CEO.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Y'all have taken so much time to talk with me, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm really excited about the game because I love, personally, this is a personal thing, I love games with a story, with a narrative, with a campaign I can play, and I want to talk with you about that today. How do you make an immersive tabletop experience? We've mentioned it in an earlier video about the tools that a video game has. How do you, in a board game, make players feel like they're running and jumping around a city and dealing with hazards and traps and other dangers when you just have cardboard on the table?
Yeah, the one thing is that the game is scenario based, so we just designed those scenarios in the mini campaign system. But we won't force you to read the wall of text, the 30 minutes reading before each game. We wanted it to be juicy, and on the spot. So very meaningful, and all the decision story-wise you make will affect your gameplay, but won't affect, reading more and more of text. So you will feel the story, the characters in the game, but more in the gameplay and decision than just in just reading about them. So you will become part of the story, not just observer or a reader of this story.
One of the great things about working with Techland and their designers, Timon and all the whole gigantic team behind it, is that they were able to point us in the right direction. And what we're actually introducing in this board game is something completely new. It's a pilgrim's outpost inside the city of Villedor. So you as players will be those pilgrims trying to establish that outpost for the group called the Pilgrims. And one of the coolest things about it is that this group is neutral to the other factions in the city. So you're basically establishing not only yourself as a runner, as in sort of like the new hotshot in the city, but also the faction that you represent. And it's going to be up to you with which existing factions do you side. And besides that, we're introducing this new sort of thing into the story, into the world of Dying Light. The other cool factor is that once you see the board, you see the streets, and you memorize them, and you see the layout of the whole board, you'll understand that the mini campaigns, the way they are structured, they will change the landscape a little bit from the other. And they're called mini campaigns for a reason, because we're board gamers ourselves. This wall behind Przemo is just a fraction of our collection and what we
It's a lot of games
play.
back there.
And we try to play as much as possible, but what we see and what we experience ourselves and relate to as gamers is that there already are a lot of games with very extensive text heavy storylines, and that's great, because when we have time we love these.
Yeah, if you can get the same group to come back over and over and over
Exactly.
again, which can be a challenge.
Exactly. Some people can manage it, others can't. So we decided to address the dynamic aspect of it and the shorter one with the structure of the mini campaign, where you can live through a meaningful story-packed experience, but you don't have to spend half a year doing it. Przemo, tell us about the structure of the city, because for me, this is one of the best features of this board game.
Yeah, does actually, you were saying like, do things I do in one part of this mini campaign, will it actually change like the layout of how I set the board up?
Yes, precisely. Let's say you establish your base, your hub, in one mission. Yeah. So if you choose to play with the campaign mode, so in between the scenarios, you will have this base building gameplay. When you add something to your base, save your game, and then proceed to the next missions. But imagine you played one mission in a part of the city we designed. And now when you zoom out, you will see 4 or 5 times bigger part of the city. And then you will use it like in a modular system to play each mission in some part only from the city, but in different configuration. You can even get back on the same tile, but in different mission, and it could be starting tile or ending tile in other mission. And whenever you do something meaningful in the city, let's say blow up the metro building to cover the infected nest, or build some bridge, or set a car trap, you will save this feature because we will give you a map of the city to explore, and to save those changes. And then next time you will get back to this tile, to this part of the city, you will have this car trap, this
you have this
bridge.
building you blew up.
Yes.
You have, that's so cool.
So if you and your friends are crazy enough, you can set up a few copies of the game next to each other and have the whole floor as a city. This is a really exciting thing for me, especially because it is also, according to my knowledge, the first board game that does this, that reflects the landscape of the city of Villedor. You'll be using a whole piece, one neighborhood, many streets, many objects, and the way you'll set up those tiles will be different. It's, let's say, in a scenario with a chase, you're going to set them up so that they're like a long, narrow street.
Straight line.
A straight line. In a different one, it's going to be like a zigzag. And it just gives so much designer space for Przemek and our team to play with, and for you as players to experience extremely different stuff each time you play a mini campaign.
Yeah, so the modular aspect of everything really makes it so that you can take this large city, but we focus in on the different portions of it, and you don't need to have, like you said, a whole giant table filled with everything. It can be manageable.
Exactly.
Are any of these changes that you're making, say we've blown up this building, going back to that example, is that a thing that is like a permanent change? Is it like, in a legacy game where you might like add a sticker to a board or something like that? Is it a permanent change like that, or can I go back and replay a scenario before that happened?
When you play the campaign mode, it's a permanent change, and you will mark it on the map. So the next time in the next mission you will be back here, the building is no longer here. But you can also play a one-off scenario, just one game, to develop your characters and have a great time. That's fine, because the story is not forcing you into playing more and more, because it will be intense and meaningful each time you play, and each scenario will have a different game mode, I would say. Sometimes you will escort someone, sometimes you will chase someone or be chased, sometimes you will be just tower defending some outposts. So those different game modes can be played as a standalone games.
Cool. That's awesome. So you've got like the story, but you also can go on, say, side missions, and do, and that way there's that replayability there outside of just that campaign structure, which I think is something that's going to appeal to a lot of people.
Yep.
Well, it sounds really exciting, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to immerse me in the details about Dying Light, the board game. And thank you at home for jumping into this immersion right along with me. If you want to know even more, you can watch all the videos we've done in this series. Make sure you're following the campaign on Kickstarter. Sign up for the newsletter so that you can stay updated. And we'll see you in the next one. Good night. Good luck.